Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wolfstalker25, and today I got a new action figure model kit review for you guys. It's kind of a mix of both. But this is the Blokees Pokemon Classic version. I've seen some places, I swear I saw it like labeled like Version-S for like, I'm assuming small. But this is the Wave 1 of the Blokees Pokemon figures. I don't know if this is officially licensed. You can pick up, not this wave, but you could pick up other versions and other waves on like Big Bad Toy Store and stuff like that. I got all mine through AliExpress, just because it kind of was easier, and I got them when they like kind of around the time they came out. So these guys are pretty cool. I think they roughly, price point wise, they're somewhere in the realm of like $7 to $15 for the little guys. The bigger guys were ranging, I think, somewhere from like 15 to like 30. Snorlax being the newest one in the newer wave of the large figures was like $40, I think, on some places. So weird price range. No official like release in the US for these as of yet, but they're really cool. I really like them. We're gonna do some comparisons with some other lines and some other Jazwares variants of these guys, but we'll start with, you know, the mascot of the franchise, Pikachu. So with all the Jazwares figures, or not Jazwares, my bad, with all the blocky Pokemon figures, you get these like little bases that they give you, and they're kind of cool. They're pretty interesting. You got like the little Pokemon label on the front here, little spot for Pikachu to stand, little like gardening bed thing, and like a brick wall. So like, and then you get like a sticker you put on here. I wish these were printed. That'd be pretty cool if they'd like put like a stamp on it, so you didn't have to deal with the like lining up sticker holes and everything like that. But the bases are really kind of interesting, but they're circular, they take up some space. I wish they were more square and had abilities to like link together. But we'll take a look at Pikachu here first. You know, we'll take a look at what they look like articulation wise. Personally, to me, Pikachu is the weakest of this first wave. Being the mascot, you would hope and think he would be one of the better ones, but unfortunately to me, I wasn't really a fan of this guy. He could look up all right, and he could look down like a tiny bit, and he's got like head tilt and stuff like that, so you could get some posability in there, but you're stuck with this generic face. When you put them together, I believe you had to snap the ears in and stuff like that, and you put the arms on. I can't remember if you had to snap the body together. I think you did. And then the legs, like they could go up, you know, you could rotate them all the way around and everything, but that's all you get is just rotation at like the hip zone. The arms have like, you know, a little bit of movement. You could go back a tiny bit, forward a little bit, down, up. You could well, you kind of can rotate them up. You could rotate them down a little bit, but you don't get really much movement there with that arm on Pikachu. And then the ears have a little bit of, you could bring them all the way down, or you could bring them all the way up, or you could kind of do like Pikachu's typical like one ear to the side, one ear up thing. And then the tail is just it's got a ball joint there, so you could like pull it out and spin it completely 360 degrees around and stuff like that. But yeah, Pikachu, in my opinion, weakest of this initial first wave. You can't get him into a down four-legged like running pose. He didn't come with any like electric like shock ability like effect pieces. Like Charmander over there has a fireball and stuff like that, and Riolu over here has a focus palm or something like that. I can't remember the exact Pokemon ability name off the top of my head right now. But yeah, Pikachu weakest. We'll go to the second mascot of the franchise now, Eevee, the new additional mascot. So like, again, really good looking print details on Eevee, and paint and everything, and just an all around, in my opinion, Eevee is one of the better figures in this wave. Really nice figure, especially at like kind of the 6-inch scale. These are really cool to have and get. But the tail is just on a ball joint, so you could do a full like swivel around and you got a little bit of like back and forth and up and down. The head has up, down, and then you get a little side to side. The ears, again, just like Pikachu, they're on like a little hinge, so you can take them all the way down, all the way up. You could do like a side to side tilt thing. And then the legs all are on a ball joint as well, so you could kind of bring them inwards a little bit on the back legs, bring them out. You could bring them back a little bit, forward a little bit. Front legs are a little bit more hindered because of like the big poof on the front, but again, in and then out, so a little bit wider of a stance. Forward, backward. Overall though, I think Eevee's great. Again though, you can't get Eevee really in a sitting pose, which like Pikachu you can get it in a sitting pose, Eevee you can't. Again, Eevee does come with a little base, looks like a little walkway, get a tree stump and a bush. And I have a cat on my lap trying to get up and invade the review station right now. Yeah, so there's Eevee. Then we'll take a look at Charmander. Charmander being one of, if not my favorite of the wave. Eevee potentially beating Charmander out there for it. But Charmander's mouth can open and close just a tiny bit. Head, up, down, left, right. Tail on a ball as well, so a little bit movement there. All these guys do come broken apart. Oop, see, like, there you go. So the arm right there popped off. So legs, get him in a sitting pose. Unfortunately for Charmander, I feel like Charmander comes in one of those things where, just like Pikachu, you're stuck with the one face print, and Charmander's got like angry eyes. And I would have liked to see some happy eyes. Charmander also has a little foot rotation on the ball there, so you could pivot it in and out, and forward and back. Legs go forward. You know, arms are a little bit more like you could bring them kind of downward there. Yeah, you can. So, but again, like I said, angry face. I would have liked to have a second face. And there are some other Pokemon in this line that do have alternate faces as well, that you can put on. I wish Charmander and Pikachu were one of them. Pikachu with a closed mouth, Charmander with more happy eyes. You do get a little like ember fireball there. Nice little mountain detail. Little magma base for Charmander. And then the last Generation 1 Pokemon here in this Wave 1 is... Oh, and we're knocking everybody over. And we got Psyduck over here, which is, I believe, if I'm remembering correct, Psyduck is one of the Pokemon creator, I can't remember which one of the Pokemon creators it is, but it's one of his favorite Pokemon. Again, little base. You get a question mark for like Psyduck being confused. A little like leaf and water and rock and stuff like that. So a nice little base. Again, Psyduck here is very basic. You don't get a lot of movement with him. The head gets up, down. You get a little left, a little right. The wings and hands, you could bring down to his side. You could, full 360, rotate, back, forward, down, up. You get the same thing, forward and back, and everything like that if you bring him up and down. So I like Psyduck being a little confused, kind of like the anime. There you go. And then the feet get a little bit of movement, so a little forward, a little back, a little bit side to side. They're on a ball joint as well. So there you go, Psyduck. Continuing on to the next generation, we skip from Generation 1 getting 4 Pokemon as representation to Generation 4 getting Riolu, which is interesting. I mean, Lucario and Riolu, I don't know about Riolu, but Lucario is a very popular Pokemon. So it's interesting to see in the first wave of these figures getting a Lucario over someone like Bulbasaur, Squirtle, something else of popular note at the time. But yeah, no, Riolu's interesting. So let's see. So interesting little base. Might be a little dusty. I've had these guys for a little while now. You get the little hand effect. I believe that's everything Riolu comes with. Riolu does have a little bit of rotation at like kind of like the knee hip area. It just spins back and forth. The legs go forward, backwards, no out, no side to side, nothing like that. The arms, You do get a little forward, a little back. They could go in a lot, so you could completely bring his hands together. Down to the side, tail, again, just a little ball, so full 360. You could do a lot of different rotation angles with it. The ears, are these ears? Like, I feel like these are his ears. What are these? I don't know if they're just like little tassel things on his face. Like, is this a mask? Is that, you know, what's ears and what's not? But head looks up all the way, head looks down all the way, tilt. Again, though, you get these wide eyes on Riolu. Riolu might have benefited from a secondary face. Riolu is also one of those ones that it can stand on its own, but I think the base is a good one for this guy. And then the last one in the wave is Sprigatito, one of the new Generation 9, not really new at this point because it's been out for 3 years, I believe, but Generation 9 starters from Scarlet and Violet, the Paldea region, which is pretty cool. Again, nice little base, a little bit like cherry blossom, bush, tree stump. And then Sprigatito is another one of those basic ones, kind of like Eevee, four-legged, you know, creature. That tail just kind of rotates. No real like movement with these guys. And then legs go back, forward, head tilts up, down, a little left, a little right, and that's it. Like, you could kind of get Sprigatito in like a sitting pose as well. Yeah, that kind of works. So you could do, you know, sitting, standing, but because Sprigatito has the always like kind of like neutral, like almost smiling happy face in a way, you can't, like, it doesn't look as good for like, I guess, a battle scene, because it's not like doing a yelling face. So yeah, there's everybody for the first wave of the smaller scale classic series Blokees. You get 4 Generation 1, a Generation 4, and a Generation 9, which is kind of an interesting layout and assortment of figures. As you can see in the background, there's your Series 1 large scale Charizard, so we'll bring him forward in a minute for some size comparisons. Alright, so height wise, really quick, do a little size comparison on these guys. So Pikachu, roughly to the tip of his ear, is just about almost 2¼ inches tall if his ears are all the way up, just a little under. Then you got Eevee, again to the top of the ear, 2 inches tall. And then we'll bring out Sprigatito. Sprigatito is just a little over 2, about 2¼ 2 1/8. Get out Riolu really quick. Riolu is just about almost 3 inches tall. And then we'll go over to Charmander. Charmander is, let's see, about 2½ inches tall. And then last but not least, we will get Psyduck here. Psyduck is to the top of his hair. He's almost like 2 3/4, 3 inches tall, almost 2½, something like that. Yeah, about 2 3/4. So yeah, not bad size wise. Everybody's got a decent size to them. So really quick, I'm gonna get rid of the bases. We're gonna get these out of here, and then we're gonna do a little bit of a size comparison next to some other lines, and do some comparisons towards their like Jazwares counterparts really quick. All right, and the bases are gone. They're out of here. So we can do our size comparisons in a second. I did forget though, these figures, as well as coming with the base, and some of them come with little effects, you know. Here's a little, like, I don't have their boxes, but this is kind of what it looks like when you're building them. So this is the Wave 1 little guide, and this is like Pikachu, for example. So here's like the directions on how you build Pikachu, like part-wise. So the arms are one piece, the body has like an intersection that gets plugged into, and everything. So yeah, you build the base, you stick the sticker on, they're showing you all of Wave 1. So like, that's what your, you know, typical little guide looks like. But as well as coming with, you know, all the stuff they come with, they get these little like cards, which are like kind of metallic-y, and they're really nice looking. But you know, it's in a foreign language, so I can't read that. But you know, tells you their Pokemon number, and like I'm assuming, I don't know what type they are. Maybe that relates somehow. But there's Eevees, there's riolu, sprigatito, Charmanders, Pikachu, and psyduck. So yeah, they come with these little tiny cards, and pretty nice. I mean, they're cool. Some of my other ones in further reviews, I have misplaced them, so I don't know where they are. All right, so let's get into our size comparison. So first up, we have Figma Gloria. She's a cool figure. She's my only Pokemon trainer that I have. Unfortunately, nobody else is really making Pokemon trainers in the, you know, 6-inch-ish articulated scale. You got like the Pokemon Scale World Bandai figures, but they're not articulated, and they're a little smaller. So, but Figma, I wish they'd re-release like Red and some other guys. But we're gonna bring in some of the other lines first, and then we'll go into, after that, we'll go into like our other Pokemon comparisons. But I just figured I'd bring out Gloria first. So right now we have your Power Rangers Lightning collection, Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, and a Marvel Legend Mark I Iron Man. And then we'll bring out the Fortnite. Oh god, what was this called? I can't remember what the Fortnite Hasbro line was called. But yeah, there's them for one of those as a comparison. And we got your Star Wars The Black Series Captain Rex. I do not know where my G.I. Joe Snake Eyes is right now, so we're going to be a little light on the G.I. Joe comparison. But if you have a G.I. Joe figure and you have any of these other figures, you know what size, you know, kind of fits. So there we go with these. Let's get these guys out of here, our Hasbro representation. 2 canceled lines, unfortunately. Still a bummer that they got rid of the Fortnite line and that they got rid of Power Rangers before they could finish some of their teams. But this is a Pokemon video, and we're not going to really go into all that nonsense right now. So, up next, we got our Mythic Legion Black Knight. He's going to have a hard time standing, of course. I haven't had these guys out in quite some time. Got cats all around the review station right now, so they're kind of invading the space. You got your 1000 Toys Halo Master Chief. I think it was 1000 Toys. And then you got your Jazwares. And then while we're going at this already, we'll bring out the McFarlane Fallout Power Armor, T60 Power Armor. And then we'll get our SH Figuarts Goku in there as well. Oh, that doesn't want to stand. So got Goku, and then lastly, for what I always like to do with my size comparisons, was the Mafex Nightwing stepping in for Batman. There's your look at like how these guys scale with a ton of different lines through all different brands and stuff like that. So get these guys out of here. All right, and now we're going to do some comparisons with some other Pokemon. So firstly, I want to look at like the Jazwares versions with these. So first up, we got the Jazwares Psyduck and the Blokees Psyduck. Blokees, in my opinion, definitely kind of looks better. This Jazwares one isn't bad, but when you look at them side by side, the proportions just look a little scrunched. Color wise, I don't know which one I prefer. The darker yellow on this one's kind of alright. I would have preferred if the beak, like the nostrils, were painted black on this one. Unfortunately they're not, but it's supposed to be a model kit, so maybe they expect you to do that on their own. But other details are painted, other details are printed, so a little bit of a bummer there. So there's your, Jazwares look. for that one. Here's where it's really interesting. So there's your Jazware Pikachu that they've done, and like kind of like the running pose, like I said, and a Jazware Raichu. This one scales pretty well, I guess. I mean, it's a lot bigger than this Pikachu. So, but for Raichu, I feel like that works pretty well size-wise. So again, you know, there's another one, and I do have a Jazware Eevee, but I'm not going to pull out Eevee. What I'm more concerned about with Eevee is how Eevee looks with a evolution. And here's one of the Flareons. It's one of like the pearlescent multi-pack ones. I don't have the normal one. But again, though, this Eevee looks pretty good with this Flareon. I feel like size-wise, they really kind of work. So that's pretty good. And I mean, I feel like Flareon here, you know, just kind of works with the rest of this scale that we got going on. So, alright, let's pull out one of the big boys. You guys, I'm sure, want to see how this looks like next to the Pokemon Select line. Here is everybody's, you know, favorite or not so favorite boy, Charizard. And let's get him a little bit more posed up. There we go. And get the mouth open. Put him right by Charmander back here. So there's your Charizard comparison. So like pretty good, I mean, I feel like. And then, you know, here's Blokees, the series 1 of the large Blokees Charizards. So like size wise, they look pretty good. Charmander scales up, I feel like, relatively well with both. Obviously the Blokees one is a little smaller than the Jazwares one, but the face on the Blokees just looks so much better, at least in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna get the, we'll move the Blokees one out of here. We'll keep the Jazware one for now. And then for Riolu, that's a little size comparison because I do have a Jazware one here, somewhere on the desk. Actually, we'll just bring this out in the background. Here's a Snorlax, which is the newest series. No, don't jump up there. Alright, so for Riolu, I want to compare him next to the Jazware Pokemon Select Lucario. And we will get out the Jazware little like battle figure Riolu. And like as you can see here, it's, you know, size wise, it's kind of comically funny how just little the old Riolu is and how large the old Lucario is, just because we're comparing them. And this is the newest wave that has come out. Here is the, let me get him the sand, hold on. Yep, doesn't want to stand. There we go. But here is the Blokees Lucario, and I just it just feels like we have a weird size thing going on here. Like this Riolu has really bad printed eyes. Like that one's way too high up, so like yeah, that's just not good. But size wise, I feel like this Riolu does not scale with this Lucario at all. This Riolu scales better, but this Riolu scales better with this Lucario. But it just, I don't know. They don't scale very well with, I feel like, any of them like in this bundle at all. Nobody scales perfectly with this line. So, a little weird, but yeah. So, but again, like, I don't know size-wise in game how big Riolu is supposed to be. But yeah, so we'll just put that off to the side, put the Riolu off to the side. Let's bring in a model kit Gengar. This is, I believe, one of the Bandai model kits. So like these are the Blocky model kits. There's a Bandai model kit. So Gengar's a lot shorter than a lot of other people. I feel like the Bandai model kits are a little small. I would love to see Blokees get to Gengar at some point. Here's one of the newer figures from Jazwares. Here's one of the like battle figure hair crosses. I guess we need to bring in an epic battle figure. So here is the newer Jazwares epic battle figure Skeledirge. So again, really large in comparison, but I feel like overall though, these Blokees figures really kind of scale well with a lot of other stuff. And let's see, what is the last thing I want to bring in here? Oh, well, since we're looking at some of their, counterparts, this is the Series 2 Blokees, which we will get reviews on these guys coming up soon here on the channel. But here's your Kanto starters all together, and yeah, I mean, these guys look awesome all together. I mean, they just look so cool, so good. I'm so happy with all three. And since we have, Sprigatito here as well, let's shift these guys off to the side. Again, now these were Series 2 releases. We'll pull in the Series 3s. Here's your Fuecoco, Sprigatito, and... Alright, had a little bit of a mishap with Quaxly here. Quaxly's legs got ripped off, so there you go. There is the other two starters for the Generation 9 games, the Paldea starters. Fuecoco and Quaxly with Sprigatito, and then you got your Gen 1s, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. So, all good, all great figures here, and I really like this line so far. They're really good. I can't wait to see kind of what Blokees does next, because so far we've had 2 waves of the big guys and 3 waves of the little guys, and when we get to wave 2, like, reviews coming soon for these guys, this is just an out of left field pick. Like, would never expected a Corphish, and again, scales really well here. So I mean, I guess we could bring in your comparisons for, the other waves. So like, all your Blokees stuff here so far, here's your Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Corphish. So like wave 2 comparisons, and then I guess wave 2, and then that's wave 3. So those are all wave 3. Another wave 2, Munchlax. So that's a lot of Blokees right there. Well, not Heracross. And then we'll bring in another Generation 1 Blokees that they made, and this is one of their more recent in wave 2 of the big guys, Scyther. So let's get that a little closer for a second. Got another one. This is one of the smaller ones, Slowpoke. I guess actually we should be getting Charizard out of here. We don't need him anymore in there. So we'll get in the Blokees Charizard. So who else are we missing? This one unfortunately is not made to stand without the base, so we need to bring him in on the base. Alright, and here's a final look really quick, just as kind of like a handful of some of the Blokees figures. I don't have 4 of the bigger ones in this comparison, being Ceruledge, Cinderace, Meowscarada, and Greninja. We'll see them later in one of their respective videos, and for the smaller ones, we just don't have Charcadet in this mix, but I do have them. They will all be reviewed, but like, just scale wise overall, these guys all fit pretty well. They all look really good. Just as a stand-in on the shelf, I think they all scale pretty well with Gloria back there. I think the only one that looks a little small is Lucario, and the one that looks a little big is Riolu. Cinderace also looks a little big, but we're not in that review yet. So yeah, everybody looks pretty good here. Really happy to have all these. I'm going to be excited to review Wave 2 for you guys. And then we go on to Wave 3, and then hopefully we get a Wave 4 announcement sometime soon. But yeah, really cool. If I had to make any critiques to these figures, I'd say maybe a couple of them need like some alternate you know, faceplates, Charmander, Pikachu being ones, for example. Eevee's pretty good. Everyone else is really solid in this first wave. If I had to rank them, least favorite to favorite from wave 1, favorite probably being, honestly, Eevee. I think Eevee's my favorite. Then we'll go Charmander, Squirtle, I'm not Squirtle, Psyduck, riolu, Pikachu. Oh wait, and we forgot Sprigatito. Alright, so favorite: Eevee, Charmander, Sprigatito, Psyduck, riolu, Pikachu. That's probably my ranking for this first wave, and then we'll do an overall ranking when we get to like Series 2 and 3 and stuff like that. We'll bring them all back and rank them all there. So yeah, great figures. Really happy to have them. Price point's not bad, but you gotta import them, so you do have all that other nonsense going on right now. So if you did, though, find this video helpful by any means, I would always appreciate a like and a subscribe to the channel if you're new here and haven't done so already. It does help me out a lot. Do greatly appreciate it, and I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. Haven't done some videos in quite some time. Very behind on things to review, so I will hopefully be doing a lot of the Jazwares stuff again coming really soon, and Halo was the other stuff we were doing, and you know, I missed some things. I have them, but maybe we'll get the reviews if you are interested. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will catch you all in the next one.